have a pile of leftover scrapbook kits that need using. Hello everyone, Miss Carrie here. Today I'm going to show you some fun interactive cards that you can create using leftover die cuts and paper scraps. As a memory keeper, I always have an assortment of leftover die cuts and pattern paper scraps. I used to just toss these into some craft organizers and forget about them. Lately, I've made it a point to try to use up all those bits and pieces on card making projects. Not only has this started saving me space in my craft room, it gives me the opportunity to come up with some creative ways to use the leftover pieces. Today, I'm going to use up items that I have left from the Not Just for Boys Intellectual Kit. I'm going to share 2 interactive card projects you can make with some scrap pattern papers and the die cuts from this 49 and Market collection. Both cards are going to have a school theme and can be used for graduations, teacher appreciation, or for student achievements. The card bases for these are super simple. I have a standard A2 card base, and I'm going to fold this in half on the center score line. I'm going to fold the front panel back on itself at the halfway point and run a bone folder along the fold. This is going to create the interactive card base that we can add our die cuts and pattern papers to. I'm going to repeat these same folds with the second card, and then I'll go cut out some pattern papers for the 2 designs. For our first card, I've cut out a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch panel from pattern paper. Over the top of this, I'll place a 3 3/4 inch by 5 inch piece of lighter grid pattern. I also have 2 strips that are 5 1/2 by 2 1/8. These 2 smaller panels were cut from the same pattern paper so that when the card opens up, the print matches. You could cut this as a solid piece, but this 49 and Market pattern is very thick and it would be difficult to fold. Inside the card, I'm going to layer the darker green and the lighter grid pattern. This is a great place for a sentiment. You could stamp one, write one, or use one of the die cuts in the collection. If you want to, you can add some inking or distressing to this card, but I'm just going to keep it simple today. I've grabbed the collection of Academia die cuts and I'm going to build a little scene here on the front panel. The ruler will sit over here on the left, and then I'll add this set of lockers next to it. These are going to go a bit past the small panel, so I only want to add adhesive on the left side of the die cut. For the sentiment, I'm going to place the words "Well done" over the top. There are multiple sentiments in this Academia collection, so feel free to pick one that works for your occasion. Above it, I'll add this little hexagon shape and a circle that says "Wow." On the opposite side, I'm going to tuck a little phrase that says "Dream big." As I do with scrapbook pages, I like to create visual triangles, so I'm going to tuck this little tab here at the top. This would be a great place to tuck a gift card or some cash. How simple was that? Our first interactive card is complete. Let's create another. For the second card, I created the same background pattern designs. I have the 2 darker prints on the small panels and the green grid pattern inside. I have also cut that lighter grid for the inside sentiment, but I don't want to adhere it in place yet because I'm going to add an additional interactive element to this card. I have cut a 4 inch by 2 1/2 inch piece of paper, and I'm going to place it on the paper cutter with the longer side at the top. With a bone folder, I'm going to score this at 1 inch. I'm going to flip this over and add some double-sided tape to the 1-inch section here. I'm going to fold this towards the back and burnish the fold. Then I'll adhere it to that grid pattern piece. The 1-inch section is going to be adhered to the back with the fold sitting right up against the pattern paper. The larger portion is going to fold over the top. With some double-sided tape, I'm going to adhere this panel in place. I find it best to use a strong adhesive on interactive elements. Liquid glue and double-sided tape work best for me. I'm going to center this over the inside panel of the card. To make sure all the adhesive is secure, I'm going to burnish it a bit with the bone folder. This is how the second interactive card works. Your two small panels fold in like the previous card, and the flap folds over the top. How fun is that? All right, let's grab those academia die cuts and add some embellishments. I'm going to place 2 locker die cuts on the small panel. Make sure that you don't add any adhesive on the right side of that locker where it overlaps the inner part of the card. The sentiment is going to sit on the smaller flap. I've adhered a portion of the ruler near the base, and I'm going to create this sentiment with the word awesome and the phrase born for this. As I finish adhering these to the card, I would love it if you took a moment to let me know that you're enjoying today's project by tapping the thumbs up icon or leaving a comment below. Many of you have leftover scrapbook kits in your craft space, and I would love to know if you plan on creating some cards with your paper scraps this week. If you do, please share them with me. I would love to see what you made. You can tag Miss Carrie's Creations when you post them on your own social media. I would love to see how you use the leftover items in your kits. It's always fun to find creative ways to layer die cuts. I added a tab, phrases, and shapes to mine. Now, since that flap is going to open and the back is going to be seen, I did add a matching shape to make it look more finished. You could also add another pattern paper here if you like. Cards like this really don't stay closed, and you could just leave it this way if you like. I think I want to try to find a way to create something that the flap can tuck under. I'm going to place the hexagon here. The adhesive will be on the left side, and this is going to tuck right under the word awesome and hold the card closed. So here are those 2 cards we created with some of the leftover pattern papers and die cuts from the Not Just for Boys Intellectual Kit. This first one is a simple card that opens up just like this. You can write or stamp a sentiment inside. The second one has that additional flap that's held closed with this little die cut. It opens up to reveal the locker elements on the left and some space to write inside. This week, I encourage you to dig out a few of your Not Just for Boys scrapbook kits and create some cards using the leftover materials. The project doesn't need to be lengthy or complicated. It's an opportunity to unleash your creativity with the items you already have and make use of some of those pieces you've set aside. If you're one who enjoys pinning projects to inspiration boards, I've added still shots of this project to my social media posts, website, and the Not Just for Boys blog for you to use. I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope this project inspired you to try something new. If you have any questions about the project or supplies I used, feel free to post those in the comments below. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.